Today I will be showing you how to make this T-Rex pencil topper, and it's a baby one, so you'll need about 90 single rubber bands. So let's get started. Let's make the teeth. You'll need a total of 8, and I'm going to show you how to do one, and you'll have to make 7 more on your own. Taking a single rubber band, we're looping it from the first peg anywhere on your loom to the second, twist it back, and loop it right back onto that first peg. Now grab the bottom band and loop it over to the center for both to create the teeth. There's one of your tooth, so pause the video to make a total of 8 and come back when you're done. And now let's make the bottom of the mouth. Taking 2 single rubber bands, I'm doing gray. My son wants a gray T-Rex topper. So taking 2 single rubber bands, we're coming down on the 3 rows. That, and we'll come down 1 more with 2 single rubber bands on both sides. And let's close it off with 2 single rubber bands from the third side peg to the center fourth. Repeat on both sides. And let's close up the top of the mouth with 2 single rubber bands all the way to the fourth peg and push that down. And now let's make some nostrils for our T-Rex. Taking a single rubber band from the first peg to the second peg on your loom anywhere. Now taking another, and we're going to loop the end peg 4 times. And we'll do that one more time. He has 2 nostrils. Taking a single rubber band and looping it a total of 4 times. Now go under the cap band, grab the bottom single, and very carefully, there's lots of tension, release it by following your hook around the peg and looping it up. Now take the back of your hook, take the nostrils off, get it on your hook, and we are looping it from the third peg to the third peg. And let's split out our nostrils like that. And let's put a holding rubber band. We'll use 2, creating the triangle up here. Let's add the teeth. Get your teeth from where you have it. Put your hook through the loops and adding it on these 4 pegs. That. Now let's cap this end peg off, the 4th peg in the center, by looping it 4 times with a single rubber band. Go under the cap band, grab the top 2 bands, and loop up and onto itself. And we can continue up the center peg, the center row, all the way to the top. Go back under the cap band, grab the next top 2. Mine's going to the right, and I'm going to continue my right side. Make sure you reach in, grabbing only the bottom 2 bands and looping it up and onto itself. Lastly, reach back in the center, grab the bottom bands and looping it up and onto itself. Now let's take it off the loom. Don't take the 3 front off yet. We'll put it on a holding hook to add to our face later. And I'm coming underneath to get my top of my mouth so that way it's right side up. So there's the top of my mouth, and you can bring out the nostrils, or you can do it later. So now let's make the bottom of the mouth, taking 2 single rubber bands from the first peg to the second peg on both sides, taking a single rubber band coming from the second to the third center, repeat on the other side, taking 2 single rubber bands coming from the second to the third peg on both sides, and coming in to close it off with 2 single rubber bands. And I'm going to add a little bit of a tongue for him, so I'm taking 2 single red rubber bands and coming from the third to the fourth peg in the center. Now I'm taking a single and capping the end peg, the center fourth peg, by looping it 4 times. Taking a single, twist double. This is a holding rubber band. We're making it a little bit tighter. And looping it from the third peg to the third peg. Another single, double. Looping it from the second peg to the second peg for a holding rubber band for our mouth. Let's add our teeth, taking your hook, putting your hook through the loops and adding it to the 4 pegs for the teeth. Just put your hook through the loops and adding it to those 4 pegs. Push it down, and now let's loop up. Go under the cap band, grab the top 2 reds, and looping it up and onto itself. Reach in the center, grab the top single, and loop up and onto itself. Reach back in the center, grab the bottom last single, and loop it up and onto itself. Now go under the cap band again, grab the next top 2, and loop up and onto itself. And I'm going to continue on the right side. Go under, grab the bottom 2 bands, and looping it up and onto itself, all the way to the very first peg. Now go back in the bottom peg, the center fourth, grabbing the bottom 2 bands and looping it up and onto itself. Continue up the left side and finishing it off by grabbing the bottom 2 bands. And now let's take the bottom of our mouth off. And put it on our holding hook for later to add to our face. So there's the top and the bottom mouth. Let's make the grip for the pencil topper. So taking a single rubber band anywhere on your loom, coming from the first to the second peg, like that. I'm putting it on the 4th peg. You can put it wherever you want. And now pulling the outside and looping it over the center row, getting the other one and looping it over to the 4th peg. So we have our single rubber band covering 4 pegs. I'm using gray, so I'm taking my gray and I'm looping it all on the 4 pegs, creating a diamond, and repeat again for another gray. And I'm going to do this for 12 rubber bands. So taking the bottom single now and looping it over the peg, and you should be looping it over 4 pegs. So that's 3, and I'm going to continue for 12 rubber bands. Always pulling the bottom rubber bands and looping it up and over the peg. Here's my last one, taking the last band, looping it on all 4 pegs, grabbing the bottom band, and looping it up and over the pegs. Now we have 2 bands left on each peg. Grab the bottom band and looping it up over each peg. Now we only have 1 band to finish it off, taking a single band off the peg and loop it across, and then taking it off from the other one and looping it on to a single peg like that. So our topper gripper is on. Let's make T-Rex's head. Taking 2 single rubber bands, we're coming from this first peg to the center second peg. Repeat diagonally with 2 single rubber bands for both sides, like that. Taking 2 single rubber bands, coming down both sides. Close off his face, taking 2 single rubber bands, coming from the second peg to the third peg, and repeat on the other side. And finally, 2 single rubber bands from the center second to the center third. Let's do his eyes, taking a single black rubber band and looping it 3 times to create 4 loops. Taking a single red, twist, double it, and getting the eye onto the red rubber band. Repeat for the other side, looping it 4 times total. Take your single red, twist double, and pulling it onto our red rubber band. Now taking a single gray, it's going on the face, and getting those eyes onto the single gray, and we'll loop it from the first peg to the first peg for his head. And now let's add the topper. And if you just want the head as a charm, you can cap that off with a single band 4 times. Now let's take our topper, the grip for our topper, and putting it right onto that center third peg. Let's put a holding rubber band and putting it in the triangle there on the face, and push all your rubber bands down. Now go under all the rubber bands we just put on for the grip. Grab the top 2 and looping it up and onto itself. Go back in, grab the next top 2 and looping it up and onto itself. Mine went to the right, and reach back in, grab the last 2 and looping it to the left. So that's what yours should look like right now. Push it all down. We are about to add the bottom of the mouth. Take it off. Take it from our holding hook and make sure it's not twisted. Hold on to it, and there should be 4 rubber bands per set, and you're going to hook it from the second peg and the second peg on the other side. So with 4 rubber bands, we want the teeth to point up. We're looping it on the second peg on the left and dragging it right under the third peg in the center, and then looping it on the second peg on the right. So there's my bottom of my mouth. That's what it should look like, attached. And let's attach the top of the mouth. Same thing. We're attaching it on the second, and the second on the loom. So the second, there should be 4 rubber bands on each again. attaching it on the second peg on the the left. 4 rubber bands again. The second peg in the center. Make sure you get all your rubber bands, the loops, onto those pegs, and then the second peg on the right side. And hold it down. Lots of rubber bands. Go under all those bands. Grab the bottom 2 and loop up and onto itself. Do the right side. Grab the bottom 2 bands and loop up very carefully onto itself. Go in the side peg, the first side peg, grab the bottom 2 and repeat on the other side. And now go in the center peg, grab the bottom 2 and loop up and onto itself. There's my T-Rex head. Taking your slip knot rubber band, go under, grab it and tie it off. And let's take them off the loom very carefully. So there's our T-Rex head pencil topper. There's his eyes. He should be pretty perfect. You can fix his tongue so it sticks out a little bit more pronounced. Fix his teeth if you want. And tuck in the charm string. To hide it. This is the small T-Rex's head. And take your pencil, find the opening at the bottom, and push your gripper onto, or your eraser part onto the gripper part of your T-Rex's head. I hope you like it. Thanks for watching.